Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news tonight on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi shares stage with Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar for the first time after his return to the NDA fold. Announces 10,000 crore rupees fund for 10 private and 10 public universities to make them world-class institutions. Security forces achieve major breakthrough in Jammu and Kashmir. Top Lashkar-e-Toiba terrorists Wasim Shah and Nisar Ahmed Mir killed in Pulwama district. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley says India has the potential to grow at a reasonably high rate for the next decade or two. Credits then structural changes made by the government and turnaround in the global economy to achieve this. And global powers, including key US allies, promise to stand by the Iran nuclear deal that US President Donald Trump is threatening to tear apart. Germany, France, the UK and Russia rally together with the European Union. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday said that centre will work shoulder to shoulder with the Nitish Kumar government for Bihar's growth. Modi, who was on a day-long visit to the state, also attended the centenary celebrations of the Patna University and launched several developmental projects. The Prime Minister also shared the stage with the Bihar Chief Minister for the first time since the latter's return to the NDA fold.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday praised Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar for his commitment towards the progress of Bihar. Speaking at the centenary function of the Patna University, Modi announced a 10,000 crore rupee fund for 10 private and 10 public universities over a period of 5 years to make them world-class institutions. The two leaders were sharing the stage in Bihar for the first time since JDU's exit from the Mahagathbandhan and its return into the NDA fold. A visit to the newly opened Bihar Museum was also part of Prime Minister Modi's itinerary.
नीतीश जी का जो कमिटमेंट है, बिहार के विकास के प्रति उनकी जो प्रतिबद्धता है और भारत सरकार पूर्वी भारत के विकास के लिए संकल्पबद्ध है, ये दोनों अवधारणाएं 2022 जब देश आजादी के 75 साल मनाए तो मेरा बिहार राज्य भी हिंदुस्तान के समृद्ध राज्यों की बराबरी में आकर खड़ा रहे, उस संकल्प लेकर के आगे बढ़ना।
1917 में पटना विश्वविद्यालय की भी स्थापना हुई और 1917 में ही बापू बिहार आए और चंपारण सत्याग्रह हुआ। तो जो 1917 का साल है, हम सब लोगों के लिए बहुत ही गौरव का वर्ष है। इसलिए हम लोगों को खुशी है कि पहली बार पटना विश्वविद्यालय के किसी कार्यक्रम में देश के प्रधानमंत्री आए।
After attending the Patna University function, the Prime Minister arrived in Mokama, about 96 km from Patna. He launched about half a dozen schemes worth 5,000 crores, including a bridge across the Ganga under the Namami Ganga program. The Prime Minister also laid the foundation stone for national highway projects.
मैं विश्वास दिलाता हूं कि भारत सरकार बिहार के कोटि-कोटि जनों के सपनों को पूरा करने में कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर के आपके साथ चलेगी और विकास की यात्रा को नई ऊंचाइयां पर ले जाएगी।
Union Ministers Ravi Shankar Prasad, Ramvilas Paswan, Ashwini Chaubey and Upendra Kushwaha were among those present during the event. Unprecedented security arrangements were made for Prime Minister's visit. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Well, in a major breakthrough for security forces in Jammu and Kashmir, a top Lashkar-e-Toiba terrorist Wasim Shah has been killed in a gunfight in Pulwama district today. Another terrorist, Nisar Ahmed Mir, has also been killed and security forces have recovered an AK-47 and an AK-56 rifle along with 6 Kalashnikov and AK magazines. A joint team of Jammu and Kashmir Police, CRPF and Army personnel had launched an operation in Pulwama's Littar village based on specific inputs about the presence of militants. The encounter broke out after the terrorists fired at the approaching security personnel. Police believe Wasim Shah was the main architect of the unrest in South Kashmir last year and was currently recruiting youths for Lashkar-e-Toiba. He carried a reward of 10 lakh rupees on his head. A civilian was also killed in the gunfight while another person was injured. The area of the encounter has been cordoned off.
इन्फॉर्मेशन पर जॉइंट ऑपरेशन लॉन्च किया गया जिसमें आरआर, सीआरपी और एसओजी जेएनके पुलिस की मिलकर इसको कोऑर्डिनेट सर्च ऑपरेशन लॉन्च किया जो एनकाउंटर में तब्दील हुआ और 1-1.5 घंटे में वो ऑपरेशन कंक्लूड हो गया। अभी वो एरिया की सर्च वगैरह कर रहे हैं और बॉडी रिट्रीव कर रहे हैं और उसमें ये दोनों टेररिस्ट मारे गए। हमारा कोई नुकसान नहीं हुआ और ये एक बहुत बड़ी कामयाबी है हमारे सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस और पुलिस के लोगों के लिए।
No, certainly we need to compliment the security forces. They are doing a commendable job. And I think what is praiseworthy is that in addition to the Central Security Forces, the Special Operation Group of the Jammu Kashmir Police has also come up to the merit and is shoulder to shoulder cooperating in all these operations. They have been successful in eliminating the terrorists and also bringing about a deterrent effect.
Well, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley says that India has the potential to grow at a reasonably high rate over the next decade or two. He credited this to structural changes brought in by the BJP government and the turnaround in the global economy. Addressing an event organized by the US-India Strategic and Partnership Forum in Washington, Jaitley said that the whole environment of doing business has changed in a matter of months. Jaitley said that when the BJP government came to power, it had the chance to look away, but it took a series of courageous steps like demonetization that will benefit the country in the long term. Pitching India as an investor-friendly destination, the finance minister said his government had taken steps to improve the ease of doing business. Earlier, Jaitley also raised the issue of reforms in the H-1B and L-1 visa processes during his talks with US Treasury and Commerce secretaries.
Of the Indian professionals to America's economy. Arun Jaitley also added that
News now from Bengaluru, where torrential rains claimed 2 more lives and 3 others have gone missing. The rain-related death toll in the city climbed to 13. Heavy rains flooded Bengaluru on Friday, making matters worse, particularly in the low-lying areas. Here's more in this report.
Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah visited submerged areas of Bengaluru on Saturday. Heavy rains in the city claimed 2 more lives while 3 others are feared dead. The Chief Minister met the victims' families and assured all possible state help to them. He also inspected the damaged roads, directing officials to get rid of potholes as soon as possible. In the last 10 days, 4 people lost their lives in road accidents caused by potholes. A BJP delegation led by B.S. Yediyurappa also met families of those who lost their lives in rain-related incidents. On Friday, a couple was killed in West Bengaluru when the wall of their house collapsed due to continuous downpour. In another incident, a priest of a temple near Kurubharali circle was swept away in storm-water drain after water gushed inside the temple. The Met Department says heavy rains will continue in Bengaluru for 2 more days. Bureau Report, RSTV.
Well, the International Monetary Fund has suggested a 3-pronged approach for structural reforms in India. The IMF pointed out 3 policy priorities, including infrastructural reforms, weaknesses of the corporate and banking sectors, and fiscal consolidation through revenue measures. Kenneth Kang, Deputy Director of Asia Pacific Department of IMF, said that the favourable outlook for Asia was an important opportunity for India to push forward with difficult reforms. He also suggested reducing the number of labour laws and focusing on closing the gender gap. IMF's suggestions come just a few days after IMF downgraded India's growth forecast for 2017 over demonetization and GST. Well, in other news now, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu on Saturday took part in the inaugural session of a 2-day international conference jointly organized by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University and IGNOU. Addressing academicians and students in Ahmedabad on the topic of the journey of Indian languages, perspectives on culture and society, the Vice President underscored the role of Indian languages in communication, documentation and creative expression. Calling language the soul of the society, he underscored the need to promote our mother tongue and address the problem of poor language skills at the school level itself.
In my view, is the soul of a society. समाज का आत्मा है भाषा, the binding thread of human existence. It has been a vehicle from times immemorial for communication of thoughts, feelings, ideas. Words have determined humanity's worldview. Many children are dropping out, especially in tribal areas, because they are taught in a different language from that they speak at home. We should have a pragmatic policy to encourage mother tongue at the very early stage of schooling and gradually move on to other languages.
Well, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu today underscored the need to address farm distress on priority and make farming a remunerative activity. Naidu was interacting with over 400 farmers from Delhi on Saturday. Voicing concern over the difficulties being faced by farmers, the Vice President said that while a doctor wants his son to be a doctor, a farmer is desperate for his son to be a Class 4 employee because of the uncertainty of farm incomes. Referring to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's call for doubling farmers' incomes by 2022, the Vice President urged state governments to ensure necessary infrastructure like good road connectivity, irrigation and water.
का मौलिक समस्याओं का समाधान के लिए सरकार प्रयास कर रहे हैं, मगर और तेजी से प्रयास होना चाहिए. सरकार पैसा भी एग्रीकल्चर में, कृषि क्षेत्र में ज्यादा इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए. यूनिवर्सिटीज और रिसर्च सेंटर्स, लैब टू लैंड, ऐसा ये लोग रिसर्च किसान तक पहुंचना चाहिए. नेशनल एग्रीकल्चर मार्केट के द्वारा कहाँ अच्छा ये दाम मिल रहे वो मालूम हो गए तो थोड़ा किसानों का मध्यवर्ती लोग जो एक्सप्लॉइट करते हैं वो काफी कम होगा.
The special investigating team probing the murder of journalist activist Gauri Lankesh released sketches of 2 suspects on Saturday. The SIT appealed to public for help to nab the killers. Lankesh was shot dead outside her house on September 5th by 2 motorcycle-borne assailants. SIT Chief B.K. Singh said that they identified 2 male suspects and prepared a sketch of the suspects. Although there are only 2 suspects, 3 sketches have been prepared based on different accounts. The SIT has also obtained video clips of a motorcycle rider who is suspected to be involved in the offence. Singh said about 200 to 250 people have been investigated in relation with the case.
You see, the 2 photos are similar because it is a sketch. You will find little bit, the sketch is prepared by 2 different eyewitnesses account. That's why there is a little bit variation. Actually, it is 2. They had been spotted suspectedly, and we, with our technical input also, we had confirmed that yes, we know that these are the suspects and we are hunting them.
Well, here's a roundup now of some more news from across the country and nationwide. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's blue Wagoner, which was stolen from outside the Delhi Secretariat 2 days ago, has been found abandoned in Ghaziabad. The Delhi police said that their counterparts in Ghaziabad found the car and informed them. However, no one has been caught for the theft. The police expects to identify the accused from the CCTV footage from near the site of the incident and have circulated pictures in different districts of Delhi. Uttar Pradesh's Chief Secretary Rajiv Kumar on Friday said that Uttar Pradesh is staring at a drought and officials have been asked to publicize ways to preserve moisture in the soil and fill all ponds with water. He directed all divisional commissioners and district magistrates to coordinate with respective departments on a priority basis. Kumar also asked officials to ensure adequate fodder for animals and medicines and other resources at veterinary hospitals. The lawyers of Rajesh and Nupur Talwar have received a certified copy of the Allahabad High Court order acquitting the dentist couple in the murder case of their daughter Arushi and domestic help Hemraj. One of Talwar's lawyers said that the order will be provided to a special CBI court in Ghaziabad on Monday, which will then issue an order to the Dasna prison authorities to release the couple. It's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
world today is talking about reactive nitrogen becoming a pollutant. Even though it's a nutrient in our food production system, can become a pollutant if it is in a drinking water source. Sewage becomes the second largest contribution and the fastest growing contributor to reactive nitrogen load. The amount of ammonia, urea, nitrogen that is lost through domestic sewage, if that can be recycled back into crops, you can cut down the fertilizer by as much as 40%.
Watch Eureka with Professor N. Raghuram, Dean at School of Biotechnology, GGS Indraprasth University, Dwarka, only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, key US allies, including many global powers, that they will stand by the Iran nuclear deal, which US President Donald Trump has threatened to tear apart. Germany, France, the UK and Russia rallied together with the European Union to support an agreement that they said boosted international security by stopping Iran from building atomic weapons. The European Union said it was not up to any single country to terminate a working deal. Meanwhile, Iran's President Hassan Rouhani said that the US was more isolated than ever. Rouhani further added that Iran will not renegotiate the nuclear deal following Trump's decisions not to certify the deal. US President Donald Trump on Friday said that he would stop signing off on the agreement.
آمریکا در برابر یک تعهد چند جانبه بین المللی موضع گرفت و بلافاصله کشورهای بزرگ دنیا و اتحادیه اروپا در برابر آمریکا موضع گرفت. آمریکا امروز تنهاتر از همیشه در برابر برجام، تنهاتر از همیشه در برابر توطئه‌هاش علیه ملت ایرانه.
More than 2 years ago, exactly in July 2015, the entire international community welcomed the result of 12 years of intense negotiations on the Iranian nuclear program. 104 pages full of technical details. The Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the JCPOA. It is not a bilateral agreement. It does not belong to any single country, and it is not up to any single country to terminate it.
Meanwhile, global oil prices closed higher following Trump's decision to decertify Iran's compliance with the landmark nuclear deal. Analysts said that such moves would significantly push up the oil prices as traders feared that the geopolitical tensions could cut off oil exports from the region. Former France Culture Minister Audrey Azoulay was today elected as the next head of UNESCO. 45-year-old Azoulay was chosen over Qatari candidate Hamad bin Abdulaziz in an unusually heated vote that was overshadowed by Middle East tensions. UNESCO's executive board selection comes a day after the United States announced that it's quitting the agency because of its alleged anti-Israel bias. Israel also has plans to pull out of the world body. Azoulay succeeds outgoing Director General Irina Bokova of Bulgaria, whose 8-year term was marred by financial woes and criticism over Palestine's inclusion as a member. UNESCO's General Assembly will have to sign off next month on the executive board's leadership pick, but it's seen as a formality.
Même si les enjeux d'aujourd'hui, ce ne sont pas les enjeux d'hier, mais les enjeux d'aujourd'hui, les enjeux de demain, tous passent par l'action collective si nous voulons les affronter, et tous passent par les domaines d'action de l'UNESCO et par ce mandat qui reste tout à fait pertinent.
Nearly a week since the wildfires in California began, firefighters are still battling it. In one of the most lethal outbreaks of fires in U.S. history, 36 people have died so far and 200 people are still missing. At least 5,700 homes and other structures have been destroyed by the North Bay fires, reducing entire neighborhoods in the city of Santa Rosa to smoldering ruins. According to the National Interagency Fire Center, this year's wildfire season is one of the worst in the history of the United States, with nearly 6 million acres burned. US President Donald Trump has said that Pakistan took tremendous advantage of the US over the years, but it is now starting to have a real relationship. Trump's remarks came a day after Pakistan secured the release of an American-Canadian family from the clutches of the Haqqani terror network 5 years after they were abducted. The operation by Pakistani forces was based on intelligence from the US authorities. He said their release was a positive moment for US relations with Pakistan. Trump had slammed Pakistan for its continued support to terrorist groups and warned Islamabad of consequences if it continues to do so, while announcing his Afghan and South Asia policy in August.
Yesterday, the United States government, working with the government of Pakistan, secured the release of Caitlin Coleman, Joshua Boyle, and their 3 children from captivity from the Haqqani network, a terrorist organization with ties to the Taliban. The Pakistani government's cooperation is a sign that it is honoring America's wish that it do more to provide security in the region.
Well, here's a roundup now of some other international news and global buzz. North Korea is believed to be preparing a launch of a ballistic missile ahead of the upcoming joint naval drill by the US and South Korea. The US Navy said that one of its aircraft carriers will lead the drill in the coming week. US and South Korean military officials suspect that North might be preparing to launch missiles capable of reaching US territory. Pakistan's ousted Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif filed a petition in the Supreme Court challenging the filing of multiple graft cases against him by the country's anti-corruption watchdog. In the petition, Sharif's lawyer requested the court to order the NAB to file a consolidated case, as the filing of 3 separate cases is illegal and violative of the law of the Constitution. Kenyan police used tear gas to disperse protesters in the country's 3 main cities as a standoff between the government and opposition leaders over a planned repeat presidential election continued. On Thursday, the government banned demonstrations in the central business districts of the capital Nairobi, the coastal city of Mombasa and the western city of Kisumu. The Interior Minister said demonstrators had damaged and looted property. Former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan urged Myanmar to make sure the 500,000 Rohingya Muslim refugees who have fled in the last 2 months can go home, not camps. In a recent commission headed by Annan in Rakhine State, he urged Myanmar's government to create conditions that will allow the refugees to return with dignity and with a sense of security and help them rebuild in violence-racked Rakhine State. Well, let's now shift focus and bring you up to speed with some news from the world of sports in Sports Beat. In badminton, the Indian duo of Ashwini Ponnappa and Satwik Sairaj Rankireddy reached the semi-finals in the mixed doubles of the Yonex Dutch Open. The Indian pair defeated Scott Evans of Ireland and Amanda Hagstrom of Sweden 21-18, 21-14 in the quarterfinals at Almere, Netherlands on In the Hockey Asia Cup, India beat Bangladesh 7-0 at Maulana Bashani Stadium in Dhaka to book a spot in the Super 4. Gurjant Singh, Akashdeep and Lalit Upadhyay scored for India in the first quarter. Amit Rohidas scored the 4th goal in the second quarter, making it 4-0. With just 2 minutes remaining in the second quarter, Harmanpreet converted a penalty into a goal, making it 5-0. Ramandeep and Harmanpreet then scored the 6th and 7th goal respectively to make it 7-0 and sealed the victory for India. In soccer, Guangzhou Evergrande beat Yanbian Feud 4-3 in the Chinese League on Friday. Liu Jian scored the opening goal for Guangzhou in the 14th minute. Yanbian equalized in the 31st minute with a goal. Marie Kui scored the second goal for Guangzhou, making it 3-2. In the 90th minute, Throlly beat Evergrande's goalkeeper and scored a volley to complete his hat-trick. Liu scored the 4th goal in the extra time to make it 4-3 and seal the victory. Pat Perez moved closer to a second PGA Tour title in a year by firing an 8 under 64 at the CIMB Classic in Malaysia. Perez is 4 strokes clear for the final round. He was on a 21 under total of 195, which was 4 ahead of fellow American Xander Schauffele at the TPC Kuala Lumpur. Perez hit 6 birdies on his back 9 in a repeat of his second round effort on Friday. That's it on this newscast. Good night.